On the other day, we have created a GitHub action. We executed it from a runner, then we executed it from a container. We have passed the variables and secrets to the action. Also, we have saved the variables to the proper variable syntax. Also, the variables we have passed to the various jobs and steps according to the business requirement. Now, it's a time to think about the next level. Assume that your CI/CD deployment is very complex and that involves various stages like baking, deployment, testing, and production release. In that case, we have plenty of steps and the existing shell module may not be capable enough to do all those transactions. For that use case, we will be using composite actions. It's a collection of one or more reusable actions. All you need is just call the particular repository and pass the desired arguments so that as and when we trigger our workflow, it will trigger the composite action. Also, we can create a JavaScript based action called JavaScript Actions. Node.js will be the backend and we would be creating the input variables, output, and functions. So as and when we call that particular JavaScript action with the desired input, it would be triggering along with the workflow. So first we will consider the JavaScript action and then we will come back to the composite action so that we all will be in same page. And for JavaScript action, the prerequisite is we need one dedicated repository, and in that repository we would be creating our Node.js code and we would be properly labeling it so that whenever we need this particular JavaScript action to be called, we would be define this repository with its release version in the action workflow. So as and when the step would be getting executed, it would be clone this repository and it will execute this Node.js. Also, the prerequisite is the machine should have a Node.js to be installed and the machine should have all the modules desired for this execution. So without wasting much time, we will move on to the video. Good day guys, my name is Melvin Satishan. Let's explore the JavaScript action. We have created a practice common action repository. We will be keeping all our JavaScript codes and the modules within this repository. As and when we configure our workflow, it will source from this repository. Okay, so let's clone this repository to our VS Code to configure further. We have this practice common action here, and in this our first task is to create a Node.js setup. For that, npm init -y will do that. Once that part is configured, we will create something called type is going to be module so that we can import the JavaScript modules like the way how we import in the Python. And the next part, we have to create a main.js file for configuring all our libraries and modules. Okay, and we can install the JavaScript modules like a npm install, and let's install one module @actions /core, and the another one is @actions /github, and the other one is going to be @actions /exec. Okay, we will use it later because I want to make sure that you know how the JavaScript actions will be getting executed. We will write very complex JavaScript actions in the upcoming session. So let's make this plain and simple so that you will be able to create complex JavaScript actions. Okay, and here I'm going to mention very simple like a console.log. This is my first JavaScript actions. Okay, so this has been completed. Perfect. Next step is action.yaml. we need to create a catalog file. So here it is going to be name first JavaScript action. Okay, next here I'll put a description as well. This is my first JS action. Okay, once that part is completed, our next parameter is runs, and it is having another parameter called using node 20. So we would be using the node 20 action for running this. Now in this we have one more parameter called main file. So we will mention main.js. If your main.js you are not planning to keep it here, you may be keeping inside some folders, always make sure that you would be defining it appropriately, else you will get some errors. Also we have something called pre and post. So that will execute before the main function, after the main function accordingly. We will consider that later during our complex JavaScript creation. Okay, now this part is completed, so our first segment is perfectly configured. Okay, now before you go, I'm just making sure that node space main.js. See, my JavaScript is working as expected. All right, next step, we need to add this into git add dot git commit -m js, any commit you can give it, not a big deal, and git tag -a-m first action. This is my first action. Okay, any message you can provide, it's not a big deal. So I'm going to give v 2.0.0. I'm going to release it as a v 2.0.0. next git push double hyphen follow hyphen tags. So I'm going to push it. Excellent. So when we come here and practice common action, I'm gonna refresh it, and if you look at it here, we have a tag here, we have a 2.o.o. okay, so we have our JavaScript action ready, and node modules, main.js, action.yaml, everything is ready. All right, now we have here our master repository. From this repository we are going to call this JavaScript action. Also, one more point I would like to let you know. Here we will go to the actions and general. In the general, you should make sure that access is accessible from repositories owned by your desired organization, else you will land into some permission error. Perfect. So this repository is ready, the code is ready. Now we need to assemble our action file. How do we do that? Let's open our master file here. This is our master file. In this master file, I'm going to create hyphen name, and let's say that first JS action. This is our first JS action, and uses what it uses. It is gonna use our main, right? So that is going to be Melvin Satishan slash, what is our repository name? It's going to be practice common action. Okay, here it is, practice common action. And finally we have to define the tagging, that is called 2.o.o. okay, so we have all the things. And you may be surprising that why am I not using with or something else. As I already told you, @actions / core is having a submodule called input. If you want to pass certain input to your JavaScript, in that case you can use the with argument. That we will consider in our next segment. So we will examine all those parameters in a very detailed manner. For now, we are making this session pretty simple. Okay, so I'm going to commit this. For that, git add dot git commit -m update git push. Right, we have pushed it. If we look at this, there might be an event driven execution, and if we look at it, okay, the job landed into error. Let's look at it. What is that error? Missing download info for Melvin Satishan @/practice common action @2.o.o. Okay, let's look at it. What is that? At v2.o.o. So we did a small typo error here, and I'm going to mention v2.o.o, and we are going to add it, then we are going to commit it, then we are going to push it. Perfect. So let's look at the new event driven automation. Here it is update, and we are using this. The first JavaScript action has been executed. If you look at it here, yes, the console log has been executed successfully. Perfect. So that's it for this series, and in our next video we would be writing a complex JavaScript action, and multiple JavaScript actions together we will form a composite action, so that we will be very clear about what is happening and how do we make a complex JavaScript actions for our CI/CD deployment. So thank you so much for your time, and wishing you a great rest of the day. This is Melvin Satishan signing off now.